Good morning. It is October. What's today's? Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. October 18th. No. October 25th. Today is October 25th. All right. A little thought just popped into my head. I happened to catch a Instagram interaction. My man Travis, holding down the Instagram account, had made a comment on a post, all caps, very effective. Simply said, government is the problem. Dropping bombs. And someone replied, I don't even know who it was, not important, something to the effect, yes, in a way, but at the core, it's dominating. I think he meant domination, or dominating personalities, and greed. So this little video, we're going to call the fallacy of limited imagination. It's actually probably a more appropriate technical term for this fallacy. So that comment highlights the limited imagination of the average man or woman. And to a great degree, it is not their fault in so fact that the mechanisms that surround us in our environment and the people behind them, i.e. the dark occult forces, have specifically sought out to limit your imagination and build a system in which you ultimately limit yourself as you enforce it upon yourself and others. So what do I mean by limited imagination? Limited in what regard? The average man falls into the fallacy specifically when imagining very evil things, very heinous, dark, malicious, gut-wrenching acts. They can only go so far, right? When he attributes the problem of government to greed, greed is something the common man can associate with. The desire for more, the keeping up with the Joneses, how they can see in a material way, oh, that guy's got $1 million, I wish I had $1 million. It's a somewhat, not trivial, but low-level sin, so to speak, with which the common person can imagine themselves being a part of it, right? They can associate something familiar to themselves. When it comes to the truth of how dark and sick and twisted the forces on the dark side really are, the common person can't bring themselves to imagine that. You could even describe to them what they are constantly doing to us, and they'd say, no, I don't believe it, can't believe it, won't believe it, impossible. And that's because they can't picture themselves doing it or being a part of something so heinous. Therefore, they cannot imagine that someone else would be capable or willing to do that. See, but it is not a requirement to assume you are capable of it to come to understand that another would not only be able, but willing to commit such heinous types of acts of evil. Another problem associated with this is then the type of solution that the common person comes to assume would be viable in order to fix this, right? Take the system of government, which I have gone to great lengths as I have unraveled natural law through the master teacher Passio, come to understand it for myself and to intuit it from the inside out. That government is in and of itself an evil institution. Break down the word, means mind control, and at its core it is there to control people when in fact no individual has the right to control another person, therefore making government de facto, by default, illegitimate. But when someone sees politician X doing something, being greedy, they're in, what's the word I'm looking for? When they are performing one of the sins that the common person can associate with, they therefore think the solution is, we just need to remove such and such. Need to vote in someone else, right? Then things will work out well. Constantly people are saying the system is broken, and I like to point out to people, the system, vis-a-vis government, is not broken. In fact, it works damn near flawlessly. The problem is what you believe the system was set up and intended to perform as its function, right? When you believe that those in power actually have your best interest in mind, and when you believe that the system of government is there to do something for you, when in fact it's only there to do something to you, then you think that by changing some of the actors that are part of it, that you could fix the system. Government was created to control you. End of story. Full stop. It is not there to help you in any capacity. Now, as I pointed out in the inversion of the American dream, in which one, and I'd like to do this in a video, can extrapolate, everything has been inverted. So, everything that is evil or wrong or a lie or, anything that's put out there, it always has a bait of a nugget of truth. This is where the inversion of everything comes into play. And with the government, just like any other system, it does attract good people that think they can perform good works and help the system. And on the low level, with some instances, good things are happening, but that in no way justifies the existence of the government in its totality. It merely acts as the showcase that they present in order to try to legitimize their existence. Oh, see these programs we set up, see how we're helping the homeless, even though there's a ton of them, the poor, even though there's a ton of poor, and they're getting poorer, take your pick. And then good people sign up and want to be a part of it. And they never realize what's really happening at the higher levels further behind the scenes. So, bring this back to full circle. The lack of imagination. Until one is willing to pull down the curtains that are shrouding the truth from them and come to terms with the reality of what is really happening, come to see truth face to face and realize it is grisly and dark and heinous, then they will never allow themselves that opportunity to fully embody the imagination of what's really happening. So if you limit your thoughts and extend the idea of what you would be capable or willing to do and superimpose that on those in power, you have now limited your own imagination and will never be able to fully encompass the reality of what's happening. And until you're able to do that, you'll never see things for what they are, and therefore you will never bring yourself to take the necessary action to make the change. You'll never put forth enough effort to change something that is so bad if you never are able to believe and come to know what is really transpiring. So, if you limit it merely to, they're greedy and we need to get in less greedy people, you've done yourself such a disservice. Allow yourself the opportunity to expand your understanding, to expand your imagination, to encompass the full spectrum. That way, when you go on to continue to seek truth and you encounter the reality and someone tells it to you and you're like, oh my God, that's terrible, but this makes sense, I can come to understand this, and that level of extremism on the dark side as well as the light side, but we're talking about the dark side, will finally explain what's really happening, at which point you'll be able to get more closely, you'll be able to get closer to the root cause of things. So, there was a quick rundown on the fallacy of limited imagination. The more you know.